This research has gleaned thousands of pages of original documents that were donated to our archive by the men and women of these programs. All of these documents will be shared in a totally transparent manner as the research warrants their release. From FCAR prototype engineering reports, internal documents regarding the pre-production days of the legendary Z-28, to the development of the electric drive program of the 1960s, they truly offer an illuminating look into this research. In many cases, they resolve the speculation that has surrounded many of these General Motors programs throughout the years.
The research and interviews were over, and it was time for the team to reach the final written version. Logan, Jamie, and I had fully immersed ourselves in this project from day one, a process that had spanned over 4 years. Our vision of this project had achieved the full recount of the General Motors electric vehicle development of the 1960s, and we had fully exhausted all of our research goals. From electrically driven torpedoes to electric locomotives, with many stops in between, the historically significant documents and research were obtained. Additionally, we had documented a high-performance General Motors program that had not been known to exist prior to this research in its entirety. These things could not have been accomplished without the involvement of many of the men and women who had lived these moments becoming involved in our project. The pilot prototype Camaro program had been tied conclusively to the development of the Lunar Roving Mobility Test Unit program. It had operated under a specialty prototype program within Aggarwal's electric drive division called the Electric Shopper Car. Shopper LV were nicknamed by our research group the Shopper Car Lunar Vehicle. The name made me chuckle. Our research had retrieved over 2,000 pages of material written on these subjects, many of which had never been published. These papers spelled out the quest, research, engineering, and development of technology in the creation of these electric drive programs of General Motors. In addition, we had conclusively proven that Electrovair 1 and the electric drive and the many control components of the Lunar Roving Mobility Test Unit had been designed and built by the same men, some of which were still alive. Our extensive interview process had obtained over 20 hours of personal video. Many of these men were never formally recognized for their efforts, although the thesis papers bared their names. This humble recognition served as an acknowledgement to their families and brought many to tears. In many instances, this lack of recognition was the reason that the men had saved the vast majority of their paperwork from their years at General Motors. It was their only proof of involvement to some of the greatest advances of the 20th century, and they were heroes to their families. We had documented our research in a 21-episode web series for permanent record. This process had taken over a year to complete, with a total elapsed viewing time of over 4 hours. In addition, we had published a complete list of photo credits of all the original documents and photographs for free download on Logan's website, pilotcarregistry.com. When this research began, it was a high school project for Logan. He was recognized several times throughout the process, most notably by the president of General Motors, Mr. Mark Royce. This came in the form of a letter of recommendation that collaborated his efforts. This had ultimately led to his acceptance at Cal Poly for software engineering. Additionally, Logan was recognized in the 4th year of this project when he was offered a General Motors internship to pursue his interests within his major. And finally, portions of this research received a Historic American Engineering Record Award by the United States Department of the Interior. This accompanied space within the Library of Congress for the education of future generations under KS-11. So that's a story in a nice, neat, tidy package. But after everything we had learned, we had several problems. It felt like a rock in our shoe and compelled us to rethink several things that we had read in the history books. Many things that we had read by other authors were incorrect or incomplete, and it upset us. Don't shoot the messengers, but this is where history and politics got incorrect or sanitized what you were taught all these years.